Clap it out. Ready? All right.
What does that do?
Well, what it is that there's sound waves on the audio, and then when you wherever you get that peak, I can match everything to that peak. So our audio matches all the way through with all three different cameras. So you have the video and your mouth actually are all in sync going forward.
Wow,
that's why they do that click, like in the movies when they say,
when they do the click thing.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually
wow.
And there's a time there, and when that time stops, that's when they know that at that time is when the recording starts, and they can go from there and cut. That's how it works.
Oh my gosh, how did I never know that? I thought it was just some cool like.
No, that's actually for audio. Yes.
Nope. Smart.
Just some things that you never know that you never know.
You learn something every day. All right. On 3, guys?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
4.
Aww, where's Lonnie when I need her?
Lonnie's no longer here.
Okay.
I mean,
what's up, you guys? Welcome to the Be Uplifted podcast. And as you guys can see, it's going to be a scary day for me today because I'm by myself. Oh, no. Lonnie could not make it today.
Well, Lonnie was here earlier.
Yeah.
This is a different... They don't know that.
Well, I mean...
I'm in a different shirt. No.
I clearly changed my shirt.
Me too.
Yeah.
Lonnie was not able to make it to this particular episode, so I am stuck... sandwiched between these two guys right here.
She likes white and wheat.
That's right. I let a little bit of both, you know?
Yeah. With sausage.
Where's the sausage?
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Is it Vienna sausage or like, are we talking about like Frank's, like the jumbo ones?
Vienna.
Yeah, Vienna. Yeah. Travel sized Vienna sausage.
So if I'm in the middle, then what kind of meat am I? I already know what you're going to say.
Beef curtains.
I was going to say. I was like, if this fool says roast beef.
I was going to say roast beef.
This has been sponsored by Arby's.
Okay, so Queer Rich and I were talking a little bit outside, and we're like, you know what? As always, let's turn that into a topic of discussion, right?
Right.
Okay, so what did we want to talk about today? Let them know.
Basically, we want to talk about like how in recent years there's been a shift in how Westerners have viewed Asian males.
Yep. It's kind of weird, right? Because for the longest time, like we kind of touched on a little bit, Asian males, especially because they're shorter, they're more timid for like the stereotypical kind or whatever. They've always been known as like the
accountants.
Accountants, the sidekick, not the main character in somebody's role or life, right?
Well, in movie, in what we're talking mostly in general, like in entertainment,
right?
Yeah,
it's about that. We tend to be like the sidekick, like Bruce Lee was the sidekick.
Yeah, to the Green Hornet.
Yeah. I mean, when it came to martial arts films, he was at the forefront, but that's
amongst other Asians, though.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. So that's kind of the topic of discussion. That amongst other Asians, we're our own stars, but when you start going into like the Western, right? Am I saying it right?
Yes. Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, we're just kind of like in the background,
right?
Yeah,
we weren't looked at as leading roles, or especially with males, because females is a whole different subject. But males in general, we weren't looked at as like the leading actor. We weren't looked at as the sexy lead.
Well, I think also if you're speaking of, men as opposed to like not being in like your normal Asian group, that goes beyond entertainment, right? I feel like even in like the real world, Asian men were kind of like not really like treated badly, but almost like blended into the scene. We
kind of had this like preconceived thing that we just fit in.
Right. Exactly. So what do you think has contributed to the rise of Asian men specifically, not women, we're talking mostly men here, to the rise of Asian men within society and cultures and things like that?
Well, in recent years, it's been K-pop, the rise of BTS, and how there's more Western females and not just Asian females in the West are like going goo goo gaga over 9 dudes. Is it 9 dudes? I don't know. Sorry, Army.
Is there 9 in BTS?
I think there's.
He said sorry to his daughter.
See, that's the easiest way for us to get canceled. You know, like we can talk all the shit and say the bad words that we want, but as soon as we go against the BTS army, they're gonna like find us and cancel us.
For sure.
But I'm sorry.
Sure.
That's not the way I want to be canceled.
He's a fan. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Listen, Army.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
But I think it's 9, right? Yeah, whatever. Well, I'm not gonna count them all, but it's they nowadays it's like you see them on like they're like today. I believe today, which is April 6th, right? Mm-hmm. They're on the cover of Time fucking magazine.
That's
awesome.
Crazy. That to me, that's a breakthrough for the Asian culture.
Well, technically not a breakthrough because this is their 3rd time being on Time.
Okay, well, their first time was a breakthrough.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, that's a 3rd time. How many times have you seen Asian males?
Never, really?
In front of Time, unless it's like some fucking genetic, like discovery.
Right. That's true. Do you guys feel like in your personal lives you've been, because I know you both are single men, have you seen kind of like more women open to you guys as Asian males? Because, there was a podcast where we stated that like even on dating apps to be swiped right on, you have to meet all these standards. Do you think that that's changed as well?
I don't know.
I don't think so at all.
So.
I've seen a couple of recent like what are they called, YouTubers that just go out and they'll ask like different culture women, is there a particular culture that you wouldn't date? And a lot of them, they say Asian.
Yes.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of the stereotype of the small dick thing?
Yeah, big.
I think that's the whole stereotype. But
it's also the stereotype that they're not cool enough.
Yeah.
It depends on the demographic who you ask. If you go a certain area, if you're just gonna go down in the street, like if you go to like PB, or
they're
downtown,
definitely. Yeah,
you're not gonna go like, oh yeah, unless it's Thursday night down PB.
yeah, exactly.
But I'm saying like they're not looking at again, the bad boy, like the cool hip hop kind of thing. But they don't understand though. There's a deep subculture there with breakdancing and DJing.
Yeah, that's true. It's very, very true.
Yeah, ABDC.
Yeah, that part. That's where it started. The Jabberwockies started breaking the mold with the entertainment.
Right. Yeah, well, that's true too.
Very true.
When people were like, holy fuck, fucking Filipinos can fucking...
Yeah, because after that, they started seeing, they can sing too.
Yeah,
they're just entertainers. Yeah.
Exactly. So like my daughter, she's into, I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but I don't even know really what they do. They're the North Star Boys and the South Star Boys. Have you ever heard of them?
Were they Chinese?
No, well, they're like a collective group of different Asian people. Like there's one Filipino, there's one that's like other Asians, but they literally, have you guys heard of the Hype House? How it's like a bunch of TikTokers?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
So it's like that, but it's all Asian guys, and they just like make like thirst trap videos, but not like, they're like tasteful thirst trap videos. It's kind of weird. They're not like butt naked or anything like that, but like, yeah, and all of her little friends, even the ones that are not Asian, are like now obsessed with Asian boys. It's so interesting to me.
Wow, they should subscribe to my channel.
I know.
I should make a channel.
No, and they're just like, she's like, Mom, look at this Asian boy. Mom, look at this Asian boy. And I'm like, when did you start thinking Asian boys were cute? Because she went to a predominantly Hispanic school at one point, and she always thought Hispanic boys were cute. But now that like BTS, South Star Boys, all these guys are like the thing now she's like, oh, I love me an Asian boy,
And
because that's what's promoted or that's what's commercialized.
Yeah.
That's crazy
now that us as Asian males are getting commercialized, with Shang-Chi, with Crazy Rich Asians, stuff like that. Like it's being apparent that there's other cultures out there that are that have a beautiful side too.
I think that's amazing, because to me I'm like, when is it going to be our turn, guys? You know what I mean? So it's really cool that it's like finally happening. What's the name of the guy? You said his name?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, like he finally had. Isn't he
Simu Liu?
Isn't he the first one to have
a leading role?
Yeah,
like an
Avengers
Asian
or something like that.
I think that he is the first Asian Avenger
Okay.
that had a leading role. Yeah.
Is that my phone? Okay, I'm not looking at it because last time there was an emergency. It looked really bad on camera. I'm ignoring you, whoever it is.
That's worse.
Well, you guys were like, don't look at your phone. I'm like, it was an emergency. Okay.
Yeah, no, but no, I think it's I think it made it just okay. I don't think, for us, the older generation, there's probably no change, but in going forward, hopefully it does make it. so that it's a little bit more acceptable. But also you keep in mind that, you know, it's about entertainment, right?
Yeah.
It's about entertainment. So you talk about, you know, the hype house. Is what it is, the hype house. There are obviously a bunch of YouTubers, right, creating thirst trap videos on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
So the most important part of that is that it's on YouTube and TikTok. So it breaks that mold of you having to be Asian and going to college.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of being the engineer, of being the nurse, being the doctor, being whatever it is. And now it's more easily acceptable for parents to go, oh, my child is an entertainer.
Yeah.
My child is a YouTuber. Just imagine if we brought that up to our parents, like, no, we're just going to do a podcast.
My parents till this day, they don't understand what the fuck I'm doing. They're like, what do you mean you podcast? You know? Do your parents ever speaking of entertainment, do they say anything about it?
It's funny because my my aunt, she's even asked me, what is a podcast? And I told her it's when you just talk to each other, and, you know, like it's something that gives people, like, if they have nobody around, they have somebody to relate to, or, you know, it's a way to give information, or just have somebody there that's relatable. That's why, like, mukbangs became
A
big,
thing, yeah.
you know. And I'll play one for her. I'll play our podcast. I'll play other people's podcasts, and she's like, I don't get it. I'm like, oh, okay. It's and then I tell her, Auntie, it's a talk show where you can see the microphones. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's actually the best way to put it. It's a talk show where you could see all the shit. That's going on.
Like, imagine, like, if Oprah or Ellen or whatever had the microphones right in front of them, they're just like, oh, okay, I get it now.
That's actually very true. I never thought about it that way. It's like, that's the best way to describe it to someone that doesn't know.
Yeah.
So you, as Asian males, do you have, so like you said, your aunt didn't really get it. So do you think that if you didn't have that military background, or if you didn't have your technical background that you do you think that your family would look down on it and say, like, what, like, that's not a real job kind of a thing?
I think if I was younger, maybe. But obviously, you know, I got into the YouTube space older. So at that point, you know, there's nothing my mom would ever say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here's the thing, you know, friends and family are never your audience to begin with.
That's so true. It's so sad,
you know,
but it's true.
But the thing is, like, as I said before, is that you're far more important to them as a person than what you are as this personality. But so sometimes there's validation. Like, I'll get a text message from my mom or like my aunt, like, oh, my friend just happened to run into your videos. Your YouTube videos, and they're like, "Oh man, so you are kind of getting up there." I'm like, "Well, not really, but yeah, you know what I'm saying." So sometimes it's becoming a little bit more valid to be a YouTuber, to be a podcaster, so to speak. So it's a little bit more acceptable. But I think that if Vince and I or you, if we were like right now 18, 19, we'd still probably get a lot of like pushback from family,
especially if we were in the not just our age, but then also the time that we grew up, you know, because there's a lot more tradition back when we were growing up, you know, as opposed to like now where it is a little bit more acceptable. Regardless of the age, it's just the culture that we're around, you know.
You know what's interesting is, for me, I've experienced the opposite, is because the fact that I am older, I've been told by people around me, like, you're too old to be doing that. Like, why are you not doing something better with your life?
Now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like, because, okay, especially because I came from a background of purely healthcare, right? Like, I worked for Sharp. Like, I was a social worker at a skilled nursing at one point. Like, so it was like these quote unquote, like, real careers, you know? And now that I'm doing this, and I have family in the Philippines, or like family aunts and uncles, they're like, what? Why are you on TV doing the internet doing transitions for makeup and talking about nonsense? Like, shouldn't you be doing something better with your time? So I get the opposite. I get the opposite pushback from family.
Yeah, but who's
which is why I don't give a fuck. You know,
who's to tell you what you do in your own spare time? Listen, if you guys want to battle from the medical history, I got you.
See, he's got my back.
Yeah.
See.
But, you know, like, and there was the one time that I would say that I was disrespectful to my dad. It was when he was telling me, you know, you should have done this or this and this. And I was like, if I did what you wanted me to do, I would end up like you, and I don't want that. So
Kinda like bitter.
And to be honest, you know, I do regret saying it the way that I did, but I definitely don't take it back.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, there were some good points that I've got from watching my parents and everything. But there's also, like parts that I didn't want to end up like that. So, yeah, I might not have had role models when I was growing up, but I definitely had people that like I didn't want to be like. So
they're almost like the opposite, like a bad role model that you were like, I'm not going to be that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I had that a lot in my life too. Do you think that with the rise of BTS and all these Asian stars that it's kind of like help us or you guys specifically open up your platforms more? Or do you think it's non?
There's always a plus and a minus when it comes to a lot of that, right? I think that especially when it comes to Korean males, most of the friends that I've talked to, it's like now it's weird because Korean men are now fetishized.
Yeah,
right?
Weird.
Now it's like, the girls are after them simply because it's a trend.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a little bit weird, but I still think that, we don't necessarily want to concentrate on the negatives. We want to concentrate on the good that it's doing. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know where the fuck Seoul, South Korea was for the longest time, and now you're finding out, Korea's over here, and then what that does is it just opens the floodgates to figuring out what else is in that region.
Yeah.
Do you think that with Corona being from like China, right, and then BTS being from Korea, like, do you think that there's still this separation between certain Asian races from people that are not Asian because of what's being fed to them by the media?
Here's the thing is that I think that there's a level of ignorance that's been around up until recently, and there's still ignorance, but then we are shedding light on a lot of the people that were ignorant before. And what I mean by that is, like, let's take, for example, it was from China. It was from, and then, like you're saying BTS is from Korea. Mm-hmm. Some people don't know the difference.
Right. Yeah. Which is partially why I asked your thoughts.
But at the same time, like, it's, like there's, recently, well, not too recently, but recently there was a big spike in like Asian hate crime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which really sucked, but that was just the ignorance of it. But I'm looking for something where we can get beyond that. Like a person that I really liked talking about was like Manny Pacquiao. Mm-hmm. So when he started boxing, he was like this amazing Filipino boxer.
Right.
But then he gets how many? 8 titles in different divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's no longer a good Filipino boxer. He's just the best boxer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what like it opens doors for us Asian Americans or Asians in general. Mm-hmm. But I just want it to be just an even playing field. Yeah. Like I don't care. I'd rather get like where I'm at, not because Asians are trending or we're fetishized. It's because I was the best one for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's very, very true.
Yeah. I think when it came to Corona, in the coronavirus, it was.
Hi, I'm Vincent. Do you think that it's going to be expensive to get some meal preps? That's not the case. With Mikey's Meals, you save a lot of money. Wow! Look at all this money that I have. I could do so many activities. You could buy a samurai sword, buy a couch, have friends over for dinner. Oh, how convenient. Yeah. Now, not only am I in better shape, but my credit score went up 20 points. Now I can finally afford shirts with logos. So go to mikeysmeals.com and use the Babes10 to get 10% off on your first order. And then you can have food like this. Mmm. Oh shit, that hurt. Mmm.
It's definitely based on a certain demographic. All that noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at that demographic,
they're dumb.
Teens, no,
Kidding.
A certain age group does not watch CNN, Fox News, or whatever.
True.
Right? They're not on Facebook. Facebook is for grandmas and aunties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at that, it's basically people my age and older that are fueling that
ignorance and hate.
The ignorance and hate. But there was a small pocket, because I was in the YouTube space, where they were looking to get together, like communicate more. And quite honestly, I think with during the pandemic, people gravitate towards groups like BTS even more because now there was that separation, there was that longing. And I think they use social media really well to kind of create that, like, we are here, we are standing together against this specific pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. But I think, when you go into Western media is going to always want to force people against each other because that's how they make money.
Yeah.
Right. There's
choose a side.
Yeah, choose a side, and then we're going to make money based on either your fears or your fears.
Yeah, that's so true.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if this is on topic or off topic, but I heard that TikTok in China, they really glorify like kids getting good grades, performing really well at their recitals and stuff like that. But then here, to hold us down, we're glorifying all the idiot behavior.
Yeah.
No,
like
that's what I heard too, that over there, like the algorithm for kids shows like math problems or like all these like achievements, whereas here our algorithm, and it's done on purpose supposedly, is just filled with just a bunch of nonsense so that the dumb can get dumber. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've heard that too. That's crazy. Speaking of, like, I know we're more on like the male side, but did you guys see that one headline that was talking about how Filipinos made a stamp in the Grammys this year? Because there was Sweetie, Bruno, HER, like all of these people that were half Filipinos that won awards. I thought that was pretty cool too.
It was pretty cool, but the problem is like
you're labeling it.
No, a lot of people never knew they were half.
I know, that's
because they're still technically half. And no, I'm not gonna go ahead and talk about whether or not they're in tune with their Filipino heritage, because I'm pretty sure they are. I think Saweetie and Bruno Mars, they are kind of in tune with it. But at the end of the day, nobody's looking at you as being a Filipino performer, because there really hasn't been any like 100% pure Filipino to actually put a really good stamp on it.
Do you guys put Filipinos in the same category as Asians?
I put them above.
Hey.
No, I do. I mean, it just,
because I've heard arguments for both. Like, they're not quite Asian, but then other people are like, yeah, they are. And I agree on both sides, depending on the points,
I mean, we are technically Asian. We're not Pacific Islander. That's what I'm saying. We are, like similar to Japan, right? They're fucking islands. So we're
I think more culturally speaking, though, because of the way that I forgot who pointed this out. I was like, oh, that's a good point. Like how a lot of the Asians, they're like Buddhists and they have those kind of like values, and they perform certain rituals, whereas like Filipino people are more like, because of all of the influences, we're not as Asian. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we have Catholicism and like different types of influences from other cultures, because we've been mixed up so much, that we're not as Asian. I personally can kind of agree with that. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is because of the fact that the Philippine Islands were pivotal or still is pivotal in any type of war.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some sort of a Western control there.
Yeah.
And that was the fact that they were fighting for Japan and the Philippines, and of course, Spanish rule, because it was a good port for global trade.
Queer Rich with the facts and the history.
I don't know. To be honest, we're just people. We're all people.
Like that.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not the way that I am because I'm Filipino. I'm the way that I am because of how I am. I just happen to be Filipino. Just like, I don't think that there's a such thing as a good girl DJ. I think that there are good DJs that are girls. But why would I change like my metric of standards just because of a particular background or anything? Like, I don't want anybody to look at me, oh, he's good for a Filipino.
Yeah.
I want them to look at me, oh, he's good. Oh, he's Filipino.
Well, I think that you make an excellent point there, but I think at the end of the day too, it's about representation. So you don't necessarily want to be labeled as the Filipino DJ or the female DJ, but if if there's this Filipino kid that discovers DJing,
like Hubert.
Yeah, like when you discover Qbert or any of the other the Beat Junkies.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you discover them, you're like, holy fuck, they're Filipino.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that that you want to be labeled the Filipino DJ because I'm
makes
for
it
sure.
relatable for other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cuba,
That makes
I don't look at Cuba and go, damn, that's a good Filipino DJ. I go, that fucker's sick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, it did normalize things to where I was like, oh shoot, I can do this too because there's somebody that like
That looks
you know,
like me.
Yeah, exactly. Just like when I first started like DJing, or when I first got interested in DJing, I saw Qbert. Now, yeah, he's him, the Invisible Scratch Pickles, the Beat Junkies and stuff like that. Those guys are like amazing. But I saw them on VHS tapes and stuff, and I was like thinking, well, it's a VHS tape. It's just a movie. I'm not an actor. I don't have this training and stuff like that these guys do that have been able to make it onto a tape and be sold in stores. But then like I saw my, like on my junior high dance, DJ X-Ray was the one that DJ'd my junior high dance. And then later on, I was like, oh, wow, I saw it live in person. This is a human being.
yeah.
And then the fact that he was Filipino too, I was like, okay, I can relate to him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it made me break the barrier of where I thought, I was limited. And then like how many years later, I actually ended up being in 3 Style. So I was part of DJ X-Ray's crew. So I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
So you're saying at the end of the day, you like it because it has opened up doors, but you want it to go beyond that. You want it to be like, I'm just a good DJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it just opened doors that I didn't know were closed. So I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize that I was limiting myself. Just because of my beliefs, because I was thinking I'm just Vincent. Or now that I've been shown so many different things, whether it's photography or DJing or podcasts and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I could be Vincent.
Yeah. That's true. How do you men feel about the fact that they are being more like, so like I know a lot of Asian women that don't like the fact that Asian women are sexualized, right? Like, oh, the Asian woman is submissive and sexy and she'll do all this like Japanese porn type shit.
That's not a bad thing.
Okay, but I know a lot of women that don't like it, right? I'm like, well, they're giving us a compliment, but some women don't like it. I've heard a lot of women speak very strongly about that. Don't fucking sexualize me because I'm Filipino, you weirdo, whatever. You as men, because men tend to think more with their penises, right? Like, or with logically, do you like the fact that Asian men now are more, sought out and like sexualized and they're seen as like the sexy figure now?
I'd rather be sexualized. So like, I want people. I'd rather them look at me and not have to think, well, you have to make this much more just to like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to be looked at as in like this is an even playing field now. How is he going to treat me versus like, okay, yeah, but he's Asian, so he has to do this much more or whatever to compensate or whatever. You know what I mean?
But I kind of feel like Asian people were always looked at as like the successful math person, business person, but the sexy part was the part that was missing.
Right. I think the whole fetishize,
fetishize. That's the word.
Fetish size or fetishization or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I know it could be problematic where like if, for instance, if BTS was a Filipino group, everybody would be like, oh my god, Filipino guys look all like that, which they don't. But the good thing is that hopefully it opens the door to learning more about the culture.
Yeah.
Right. Like with the rise of BTS and K-pop, everybody thinks they know what it is about Korea.
Right.
But they only know the entertainment side.
Right.
So in that case, my only hope is, go learn the language. Like I personally have studied Korean for a long time now. And you actually learn the culture as opposed to just learning about K-pop groups. Right. And then what that does is that it opens the door.
So you're okay with it as long as it opens doors.
At the end of the day, you can't.
A girl just simply beating off to you is not enough.
Well, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Girls do that anyway.
Stop.
For research purposes, send me those clips.
Yeah. For research purposes, hit 1 in the comment section down below if you actually beat off to me.
To me. He said to me.
No.
Or to him.
No, at the end of the day, you can't complain. Like that's just a small thing to complain about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that you have to worry about. Then somebody going, oh my God, I just love Filipino men because of this, and this. Well, okay, good.
There's this girl on TikTok. She did this video that she stitched because this white guy, right, was like, if you want a good wife, look for these traits. And then you know how like you point and like the text comes up? So it was like, this person, this person, this person, and he was like saying no, and then he was like, the best wife is a Filipino wife, right? Like, that was the last text, and then she stitched it, and that's why I was asking about that. She got super pissed. She's like, or you can stop fucking sexualizing and fetishizing us. And I was like, for me, I was so confused because I'm like, isn't that a compliment? That
didn't you just say that Filipinos are the best?
Yeah, and
it's like, what the fuck?
She's like, don't sexualize it because I'm Filipino, or don't fetishize me. I'm like, that's why I was curious to see what you guys thought, because for me, maybe I'm making it bad for the womankind of the Philippines, but I thought that was a compliment. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
So here's the thing. You know, that person, I can almost guarantee you, was Filipino American that don't speak Filipino.
Yeah. Probably.
No, actually, she's this really famous Filipino content creator.
Does she speak Tagalog?
Yeah, she does.
She does? Oh.
And
we get her on the podcast?
She speaks out a lot about like colonial mentality and like trying to break all of these like cultural curses that Filipinos have caused, you know? So for the most part, I love her content, but that was one of the ones that I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it just, again, I bet you if it's a Filipino guy that says it, it's a different context, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm like, is it because he was white, you know?
It's an easy way to attack and to kind of like get views.
That's true.
And get your point across.
Good point.
I don't totally agree with it. I mean, I do understand the whole colonialism and the whole like, you know, how, you know, fair skin actually goes back to that, you know, being under Spanish rule, and those that have money, those that were wealthy in the Philippines actually kind of like were on the sides of the non-Filipinos when it came time to either the Japanese or the Spanish. Therefore, they were able to retain their wealth, and when you retain your wealth, you are actually one, you know, like basically like shoulder to shoulder with the fair skinned people, the Japanese, and then the or the Spanish. Therefore, everybody that wasn't is kind of beneath you.
Right.
I totally get that.
You know what?
But it's
fetishize me. I don't give a fuck. All right. You want a dad bod with like that bald and beard?
You don't even have a dad bod. Both of you. Okay, we're not even gonna go there.
I have a dad bod right now. My fupa is gonna.
Your fupa.
My fupa.
Do you have a dick do?
I would have a dick do even if I had a six pack.
Stop! Why do you guys? These two always talk about how small their dicks are. I'm convinced that they actually have like 10-inch anacondas because they talk about it so much.
No way. If I had 10-inch anaconda, I would fucking tell you. Like, are you crazy?
He's like, I would brag about that shit all day long.
I would only wear gray sweatpants.
I would like, I have no problems.
All right, so they're being honest about. I don't think it's as small as you guys always try to make it, though.
Well,
Prove it.
I'm a solid 6.
Prove it.
Centimeters.
Yeah. It all depends. Am I by myself or with somebody? Because it does grow a little bit more.
So, are Filipinos mostly growers or showers?
They're mostly.
I would say growers.
That's what I heard too.
From the videos I've seen, growers.
I'll tell you. I'll be honest. I'm a grower. Mm-hmm. Not much, but.
I think I've only slept with a couple of Filipino dudes. Anthony's obviously half. Definitely growers from my experiences and not showers.
Sorry, Anthony.
Yeah. Well, he's got a big dick, so it's not like I'm complaining. But like, what's funny is that like
hands.
other race,
every dick looks big in your hands.
That's a good point. No, because I've had some small ones where I'm just like,
well, yeah, then that's
what's going on here.
Look, if you held my dick, you could still be holding it by going like this.
Stop. But it's not about the dick size. You already said.
Yeah.
It's about the girl and her loose vagina. That's what Queer Rich says.
Exactly.
Guys. It's the vagina, not the dick.
But
okay, pull it back.
No, but yeah, no. It's cool though. I mean, I do like it. It's kind of interesting to look at it from afar, because obviously I'm not that old. I mean, I'm not that young to be like, you know, fetishized. So if anybody in their late 30s, early 40s.
You know what's weird is like 10, maybe 20 years ago, my girlfriend at the time was black. And I didn't realize this, but we were supposed to go to Atlanta to visit some of her family, and then her cousins started hitting me, "Oh, are you gonna bring your boyfriend?" And then she was all like, "I don't really want to bring you around them." I didn't know that like black girls really like Asian guys.
I heard about that in Atlanta too, because one of my girlfriends was like, "I should bring you to," because she went to college there.
Yeah,
she's like, "They gonna like you." I was like, "Oh,
well, I mean, like everybody's gonna like an Asian girl."
Yeah,
but I was really surprised that black girls really like Asian guys.
Is that true?
I was like, what the?
Oh, really?
Like she actually didn't let me go, just because her cousins were like, they're strapping over me or whatever.
Wow.
I was like, what the hell? Because at the time I was working for a cell phone company. I didn't really have anything going for me or anything like that.
Which is interesting because there's that stereotype, right? That Asian guys are small, so the fat and black guys are bigger. That's like a stereotype. I'm not confirming nor denying that that's true, but it's interesting that the black girl would like the Asian guy because of that stereotype.
Yeah, her and like a bunch of her friends were like,
is not that small. See, that's what she was telling you.
Well,
no.
Which goes to show you who actually thinks about this. Probably men create that stigma, and they just like it just perpetuates. I don't know.
Create what stigma about this penis size?
The penis size. I think at the end of the day, women just don't really care.
I think it has a lot to do with porn.
Unless you're the only one I know that cares.
I don't care that much. Like,
well, you mention it every time.
It's a joke, though. That's just because
jokes are half meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course they're but I'm not gonna like break up with
You
someone
can have
like,
half of me.
hey, guess what? We're breaking up because your dick is small. Like, I'm not gonna. I've had a boyfriend with a small dick before, and it was fine. He knew how to work it.
Oh, you just haven't had the small enough dick
to break up with them.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy how we go from like
we always go back
Asian stereotypes to not talking about dicks.
That's literally our podcast. Somehow it circles back to vagina and dick every single time. Are we gonna get canceled?
the dick uplifted podcast.
You guys would want to be on that? It would be a bunch of like penises on the fucking thumbnail.
Or should get one of the walls behind us and then just put the suction cup dicks.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone would notice if we just played it off? Like we just have it in the background while we continue to have our serious talk?
It's gonna be a hard.
They're gonna flag it.
Yeah, we're gonna get flagged by YouTube.
Okay, so in conclusion, what's the conclusion?
Treat us like people.
Yeah, don't fetish. I can't say
No.
that word.
You can fetishize me.
yeah.
That's fine.
But treat us like people.
Yeah.
Treat them like people.
But fetishize me over my bald head, my beard, and my dad bod.
Yeah, I don't care about being fetishized. I mean, I'm just like, I guess I'm old enough to not really care. If a girl wants to sleep with me because I'm Filipino, hey.
I think the conclusion is it's really awesome and positive thing that the Asian culture as a whole is kind of finally getting their spotlight, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether that be sexually, entertainment wise, whatever. Like the Asian culture people is finally kind of like getting the front, like the front, whatever. What's the word I'm trying to say?
Getting the headlines or
yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
Forefront or whatever.
But here's the thing. Small caveat. Asian men. Look at me. Each one of these cameras. Look at me. Pay attention. This is still the United States of America. This is still North America. This is still the West. So it can disappear at any time. So get at it, boys. Mm-hmm. Take advantage of it all day long.
I know one day you're in, the next day you're not trending no more.
Yep, exactly.
It's very true. Very, very true. All right. Well, I'm sorry that this always transitions into dick somehow when I'm in the conversation. I don't do it on purpose, guys. I promise. You guys make me do it. You guys like to talk about your small dick, so it's your fault.
Well, it's always a short conversation.
Yeah. I'm so proud of it.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you on the next episode. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.